Can now give us a view on Trista. You've heard him say he reckons it's his banker of the night, so no pressure then. Your jockey's very confident about Trista in the Dubai turf, so what's your thoughts on the horse?
The first is it's what you always want to hear as your jockey with that sort of confidence. With his run style, you have to have confidence to ride him, and that's what William and the horse have both got with him, one another. William rides him at home plenty, and so he knows him inside out. He knows his little idiosyncrasies, but to go into the race on World Cup night, you want your jockey to be confident.
And how is the horse? I mean, you heard William really singing the horse's praise. When did you first think, right, we might have, as he said, potentially the real deal?
Well, we can all go back to the synthetics last winter. What he achieved there was something we hadn't seen on Neil Weather before. He improved with every run, and it is more his run style was the exciting part about it. The fractions when he won the Easter Classic was certainly flagged up the following day, that day and the following day as being some of the quickest fractions they'd seen for the last quarter in a race in the UK there. So we got excited, and everyone was obviously posing the question, can he produce that on turf? Quite rightly so, and we took the decision to go to Sandown, and it just didn't materialise that day, and we all came away, and needless to say, a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon and said, well, he's not a turf horse because he hasn't done it. But to be fair to the horse, his run style is, as we all know, is a hold-up horse. That's not a Sandown typical style of race. A small field probably as well as a contributing factor, and more importantly, I think, to be fair, the horse he'd been on the go all winter as well, so they're not machines, they need a break, and that's why we didn't want to try and chance him again there on the turf. We said the horse deserves to have a summer break, and that's what he had. And
in the lead up to Saturday, has it been a trouble-free preparation, and you feel you've got him as in the form of his life?
Sure, yeah, no, I don't think he can have a better platform to go into the race on his two starts out here. Like you say, he's really started training him there. He went to Chelmsford, obviously had that run round there before we brought him out, and then we gave him a nice break after the Chelmsford run, so we just didn't start winding him up really until middle to end of January. So he came in very fresh into his first race there, and he showed that in the Dubai Millennium. Came out of that race very well. It was whether we did question whether we go to the Jebel Hatter, but like I say, just because he hadn't had, he had such a break after Chelmsford. Myself, John Ferguson, and His Highness said we ought to look at the Jebel Hatter, and timing-wise, it's exactly the same as where it was last year when he went to Kempton. 10 days later, he then went and won the Winter Derby. 2.5 weeks later, he pitched up and won the Easter Classic. So on timings, it's exactly the same. We went to 10 days later, we turned up at the Jebel Hatter. And so I'm hoping that history will repeat itself on last winter.
But you look at this race, it's not going to be handed to you on a plate.
No.
With Interlac, to name one.
No race is handed to you on a plate World Cup night, unfortunately. But obviously a great disappointment that Surrey didn't turn up. Hopefully the horse just recovers from his setback there, and we see him in the UK. But there's still plenty of strength and depth in the race, and I think more importantly is as William picked up earlier, it's going to be a different pace angle to what we've probably encountered with Trista before. He's been renowned. They've always gone steady, and it suited us because he's got an exceptional turn of foot. But they won't be going steady on Saturday, that's for sure. So there's plenty of pace with Saeed's filly. He's always ridden handily, and I say Interlac, you've got Gamal is probably going to go forward to help Interlac along. So,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how optimistic are you?
For sure, it's my best chance of ever having a winner on World Cup night, and I couldn't be any happier with his preparation. So, I've got no negatives whatsoever. Horse is in great form, jockey's in great form. So, it's all positives.
So it's 10 out of 10.
We'll give it a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Just for the press. You don't want to see a weakness, do you, going into World Cup night?
Yeah. What about any of the others? Okay, best night, just a quick sum up your other runners.
Yeah, I've only just got Jungle Cat, who again, I was delighted with his run in the Maidan. Sprint, he had his first start off a long layoff there back in January, and won very impressively over 6. We we contemplated on what to do with him, but fortunately we had a horse called Baccarat that was coming along nicely as well. So the natural progression for Jungle Cat was there was a 6-1 handicap option again, but we ran Baccarat in there instead, who went and won that race. So it left the path open for the Jungle Cat to head towards the Maidan Sprint, which I was very pleased that run. He dropped, that was his first time dropping back to 5. So it's again a completely different pace angle for him. He'd never encountered that before, and I felt that he jumped and travelled very well, and I say just unfortunately just got nabbed on the line. So it's a good indicator, that race. If you can be competitive in that, you're going to hopefully deserve to have a chance or to line up in World Cup night.
But should you win on Saturday night, you'll be on a plane at 3 o'clock in the morning going back to the UK. So how are you going to enjoy the night?
It'll be fine.
You're not going racing, so where are you going racing on Sunday?
No, it's time to get back. We're very busy at home, so looking forward to getting back now. I've been as I have been doing on most winters I've come out here. We've been doing and throwing back to the UK. The horses look great back there. It's obviously been a mild winter, so probably a bit more forward than what we would want them to be. To be fair, they just look great in their coats, so very forward in their coats. But the horses are training very well. Very happy with the preparation of some of those horses towards the Craven meeting.
For Graham, this question's for Graham. Single out a horse then.
for the Craven meeting or for the season?
For the season.
For the season. Oh look, I can't. I can't go away from emotionless. He was our best juvenile last year, and he was a very exciting horse after coming out of the Champagne. Unfortunately, like I said, we met with that setback in the Dewhurst, but his surgery went very well, and his recovery went very well, and he's pleased us so far to date. He's in full work there. We spoke about what we were going to do with him in respects as well. We're going to look towards the trial. Before the Guineas, and this, like I said, we spoke about this in January, and we sort of, like I said, got our heads together and said, I personally would rather go straight to the Guineas and just work back from the Guineas, and that's what we've done. All of his training has been working back from the Guineas, so I'd rather rule the trial out than say, well, I'll train for a trial and then it doesn't materialise, and you're then saying, well, now we're going to go to the Guineas. We're going to go straight to the Guineas, and that's been the plan ever since January. But couldn't be any happy with him, and some people will say, well, what did he beat in the Champagne? But you don't win Group 2s like that normally, and not going to be a good horse.
Marcus? Yeah, Solo won that race last year, the Christmas race. Do you see him doing what he, not maybe emulating exactly what he did in Europe, but is that on your mind, some of the top mile races?
I mean, I think the thing again, we get over the first big hurdle on Saturday night there, as we spoke, and as William mentioned there. We've beaten what we've beaten so far. I think we've beaten quite comfortably, but we're talking about a different calibre of horse on World Cup night now. So if he were to go and win, then that opens up a lot of options for him back in Europe. But I think the key thing is is again, track really. I feel that he's thrived on this surface over here in a nice level grass track is obviously what he's suited to. So I'm not going to be bold enough to say, well, we're going to be going here, there, and everywhere in Europe until we get Saturday out of the way first.
Charlie, in regards to that, Solo ran here and then actually in every race again. And then you were saying that you need to give horses a break. What sort of campaign are you thinking about? Is it going to get a break, or do you see him? Has he got a constitution to go through the whole?
Yeah, well, this is something we're the horse tell us. He's on all evidence so far. He's a horse that's thrived during these winter months, as we call them. January, February, and March, whatever climate it is. So, he might just tell us after World Cup night. He might just need that break, and if he does, then if he goes and wins, we're quite happy to give him a break, and there's plenty of options for him in Europe and around the world. There's he'll open up a lot of doors for himself should he to go and win on World Cup night. Sorry.
So do you think he has the constitution to keep on month after month?
I don't think, because he put so much in. When you put those fractions in those, let's say In the Easter Classic, it was well documented. Those times for the last 2 furlongs were exceptional. He clocked up the same times when he won the Dubai Millennium, and then the last half mile in the Jebel Hatta was an exceptionally good time as well. Although he looks as though he's doing it easy, he's putting a lot of work into getting that speed up. So I'm not going to say he's going to need a break. Yeah, for sure. You can't keep that up month after month. So in respect to your question, yes, he will have to have a break at some stage.
Charlie, before the race at Newmarket, there was a lot of confidence that Motionless would really give the favourite a proper race, and just there was one bad run there, no fault with the horses, and the market pretty much written him off for the Guineas.
No, funny enough, I was just talking to William about that this morning. I see that it's Air Force Blue is 6-4 or something like that, and I mean next best is 10-1 and 12-1 and 16-1 ourselves. So I think there wasn't pressure going into the Dewhurst. There was a lot of publicity, and it was good publicity, and that's what we want. As we've said before, we'd like to. Those are the days we want to get back to ourselves for Godolphin, and competing at the highest standard and the highest level, and taking on Ballydoyle and Coolmore. That's what everybody likes to see. Two world stables, biggest stables in Europe, taking each other on. So there was disappointment on the day, and I say then all of a sudden he's gone very cold. But he's allowed to put one bad run in, and he had a genuine excuse for that run. So do I think he's overpriced? Yes, but I have a lot of confidence in the horse, and like I say, just the way he's wintered and what he showed us there as a 2-year-old. He's still showing every sign that he's as good and hopefully better now he's strengthened up.